What's going on, folks? It is I once again, Brandon the Broker, your favorite sick real estate professional from the state of Alaska. And I am kind of up right now. I'm not really up, but I'm up just enough. So I figure we're going to react to another video from Architecture TV, how to become an architect without a university degree. Now, we're going to follow along, but she's going to talk more about the Canadian side of it. I'm going to talk more about the American side of it, which includes Guam, Virgin Islands, Washington, D.C. People don't realize Washington, D.C. is not a state or a city. It's the capital. It's a capital district. Puerto Rico and places like that. I'm going to let her do a majority of the talking. I'm going to intersperse some things from the United States side. So, first off, hi, Ash.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley and I'm an architect in Ontario. And in this video, we're going to be talking about an alternative pathway to licensure. And it doesn't require a university degree. Now, I went through the university route, so I got my bachelor's degree in architecture and a master's degree in architecture from an accredited program. Now, when I went into the university route, I didn't know about the syllabus program through the RAIC. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand what the program is about, the application process, the fees associated, and also the admission requirements. So if you're interested, let's get started.
Okay, I'm pausing it right here because 9 times out of 10, by the time you watch this video, this bop right here is going to be deleted out of the video because they keep copy striking me. And they say it is allowed on YouTube, so it's not affecting my channel, but just know there's music right here that's probably edited out by now.
Number one, the program. The syllabus program is a self-paced program. Now, it's important to note that in order to become a licensed architect in Canada, there are 3 main requirements. One is education, experience, and examinations. So when you do the traditional university route, you need to get a master's degree if your undergrad is not accredited. So in my case, I went through the university route, and so I had to get my master's degree and my bachelor's degree. And after getting my education, and my master's was from an accredited program, I was then able to become an intern architect. And then when I was an intern architect, I was able to collect my experience, and you need to collect 3,720 hours. Now, of course, I share my journey of licensure up above here, so you can watch that video, and I won't be getting into the details in this video. And so once I got my hours, I then needed to do my examinations, and of course, depending on the province in which you work and live, there might be additional requirements. So that was...
It's the same here in the United States. NCARB is really the quote-unquote governing body for requirements of how to get an architecture license in the United States, but each state is its own jurisdiction, and each state is kind of different. So like the state of Alaska, you have to have an accredited degree from a university, whereas in Washington, you actually don't have to. You don't have to have that degree. But it more wants you to have experience. So there's that little tidbit right there.
The route that I took, and so I did the university route, the more traditional route, and we're going to be talking about the syllabus program. And the syllabus program is an alternative pathway to licensure, and it is a self-paced program, and it includes both the academic studies and working experience and design workshops. And once you're done the program, you have a professional diploma in architecture, and this program is accepted and accredited by the CACB. The program courses are offered online through the education service provider of Athabasca University.
I've checked out Athabasca University, they do accept American students. I should say, I don't know why I said clients. They do accept American students. The only thing is, the part of the program for, I believe it's Design Studio, you have to go into Canada for these. So if you have to be able to go into Canada and get out of Canada. So I would say if you live along the border, if you live in, let's say, Bellingham, Washington, or somewhere along the U.S. border where you're at least not that far away from the major cities, because I know there's one in Vancouver. I know there's one in Toronto, of course. I think there's one in Ottawa. There's design centers all over Canada, but I think it's mainly situated in the major cities.
So all the courses are mainly offered and completed online. Now, the design studios are done and completed in person through 12 local chapters across the country. So unlike the university route where you have to do your education, your internship, and then your examinations, very segmented, with the syllabus program, you're actually able to concurrently do your education and experience at the same time, which is an advantage because it does offer you some flexibility. So you're able to work full-time or even part-time and also do your studies and complete your courses, your educational requirement. So it does offer some.
What this is going to be good at is, if you don't finish all the courses, it can still allow you to get your hours in. As long as you have a high school diploma or a GED, you can actually start building your NCARB AXP hours. You got to have 3740 here in the United States. And you got to have those 3740 in different configurations and different components of NCARB. So what that does is it does allow you to get your hours in. And if you're in a place where the degree is not a requirement, but a portfolio is, this is going to help you. But I do say, if you can do the program, like I say, if you're in the United States, you can do the program. You just got to get to Canada to do your design studios. If that means you have to live in Canada for a couple months out of the year, or maybe a couple years, go for it.
Flexibility. Now, one of the advantages of the syllabus program is, in comparison to the university route, where you do take a lot of electives and there's a lot of fluff courses, in the syllabus program, you actually just do the core courses, and it's very focused and straight to the point, and you're also able to work and gain experience in the field while you are completing your studies. So that is a nice thing to have. So I did, again, the university route. So I did a 4-year undergrad, and then my master's program should have been a 2-year program, but I ended up taking 3 years to complete it. So, and that was a 7-year process for myself. Now, the syllabus program, in comparison to the university route, is actually very similar in terms of the overall amount of years. So for example, I, in the end, took 15 years to complete my education, my experience, my examination, and the additional requirements by my jurisdiction. So it took me 15 years to complete everything.
Your results may vary based on where you are in your life at that moment, but going back to the part where, yes, this is what you would call an advanced diploma. An advanced diploma versus a regular diploma. A regular diploma is everything's online. You just study, and get the diploma. An advanced diploma is a co-op. And the co-op part is more, you're getting an actual job in an architecture firm, in an engineering firm, in a general contractor firm to get your hours. In the NCARB, there is what you call a Schedule A and a Schedule O. Schedule A means you are working directly under the supervision and mentorship under an architect. Schedule O, and I don't think it's called schedule. I think it's called something else. Schedule O, I'm gonna call it, is other, meaning you're working under an engineer or you're working under some other form of technician. You're working directly with a home builder, but these are licensed people who can mentor you. But those hours, I think you can only get about 1,800 of those hours, or I think roughly half. I don't know if it's half of the 3,740 or 1,800, somewhere near that. But that's the cool thing about it. That's what makes it an advanced diploma. And to be honest with you, if you look at, I think I said this in another video, if you look at the UBC architecture program and you look at the Athabasca RAIC program, and you just take the architecture programs, just the architecture courses, and you put them side by side, they're the exact same courses. You're taking essentially the exact same courses for architecture. The only difference is you are just taking the architecture. You're not taking underwater basket weaving. You're not taking Taylor Swift appreciation. I don't have any issues with Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie. And I think I just lost all my credibility right there.
And by doing the syllabus program, you're looking at 8 to 16 year window. Now, of course, this depends on the individual, and of course, I found that collecting my hours, the average time, they say you can get it in 2 years, but the reality is you can't get it in 2 years. It's very rare that anyone gets it done in 2 years. It actually took me 6 years, and there's some people that it even took them longer. So it does vary, and it does depend on where you're working, the practice in which you work, and so on. So it does vary quite a bit. So don't focus in too much on those numbers, but if you look at it,
What did you get?
A 94.
That's good. AAA Auto Insurance scored a 94 on member satisfaction.
What?
AAA auto insurance.
but if you look at it,
Okay, if you take 3,740, which is the hours, and you divide it by 52 weeks, that comes up to 71.92. So let's just say 72 hours a week. You're going to work in an architecture work firm. You could work 60 to 70, sometimes 80 hours in a firm, but you got to also understand these hours are not what we call seat time hours. This isn't you punch in the clock at 7 in the morning and you go home at 6 and you collect all those hours. No, these are just hours that you are specifically working on what you're working on. You have to be working on it. And if you have a good supervisor, they're not going to let you collect just seat time, aka driving to a site 3 hours away. You're not going to collect those 3 hours of seat time. You're going to only collect the hours you are on site, or you're in front of that paper, or you're in front of that. So that will take it to maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 years. But once again, if you're working and you're doing your classes, then you could possibly finish both at the same time. You could possibly finish if you're working in architecture or a engineering firm and you're doing both at around the same time. Depending on what kind of student you are, you could possibly finish both 5 to 6 years. So it would be just about like an architect, going and getting your either 5-year degree or your 4 plus 2 or 3 year master's. So 5 to 7 years, and you're also working. So you already got your foot in the door. You already have a portfolio pretty much almost built. You should be good.
it is very comparable. The syllabus program and the university route are very similar in terms of the overall time it takes to complete the program. Now, it's important to note that there is no fast track to getting your license, so don't think that the syllabus program or the university route is a fast track. I would more look at the programs and compare it. Maybe perhaps take a look at the student work on the website. I've included some links down below to the RAC syllabus program website, and really investigate and see if that's something you'd be interested. Do you like that flexibility? And see how the program is laid out versus taking the university route. Now, it's important to note that you could get advanced standing through the syllabus program. So if, for example, if you already have a 4-year bachelor's degree from a university, you may be able to transfer some of the courses that you've already done in your undergrad into the syllabus program, and we'll talk more about that. Now let's dive into the program details. So here I have on the screen the syllabus program, and we're going to walk through the program orientation. So as you can see here, this is the syllabus categories. Now there are 2 categories into the program. So there is the diploma program candidates. So this is where you're going to get the professional diploma, and this would include getting that experience and also doing your educational requirements. So by the end, when you do get your diploma, you are basically an architect. Once you complete all of the components of it, the exams, the experience, and all of the courses as well. Yes.
Good luck on them exams. Now, I do know in Canada you can take the EXAC or the ARE, I believe. But if you had a choice, I would honestly I don't know how the EXAC is, but I know the the ARE is 6 tests over, and you don't have to take them all at once. Please don't take them all at once. But it's 6 tests, and I believe it's $225 to $250 each. I don't know exactly how much the EXAC is, but I think the EXAC is only given once or twice a year. So if you fail that test, you are going to sit there for an entire year stewing at yourself. So I would probably say take the ARE, but even with the ARE, you're going to have to wait a little bit if you do fail. I think you have to wait 30 days to retake. It's not like the real estate exam where I failed one and then I just went the very next day and took it all over again. So just mind that as well.
And number 2, you have the Canadian Architectural Certification Board referral students. So when you are referred from the CACB and you have to meet the academic certification, you do need to complete some additional courses in order to get your educational requirements met. The CACB may refer you to this program for courses that you need to take part. So here, let's get into the syllabus academic calendar. There's term 1, which starts in March 1st to June 15, which is 12 weeks, and then term 2, September 1st to December 15, which is 12 weeks. So let's get into the diploma program duration. So again, you're looking at 8 to 12 years. Now, I do have a colleague that's going through this program right now, and it's taking them a bit longer than this. Of course, this is self-paced, so this really depends on the individual. You know, perhaps you are working full-time, you have other personal things going on as well. So it really depends on individual to individual, and so this is just an average, they state, but I've been finding that that could be a bit longer, so it may take you longer than the 8 to 12 years. So there's part 1, which includes introduction to architecture, and this part 1 is about 2 to 3 years, and there are 9 courses to complete in the first part of the program. And now part 2 is a 2 to 3 year program, and it has 10 courses, and you also, once you get into part 2, you can begin to log your experience. Part 3 of the program is 4 to 6 years, and
with the Amex Platinum Card, you have access to over $1,500 in annual value. With
program is 4 to 6 years, and the course load is 9 courses, and you can continue logging your experience in this time and continue building that experience. Now,
Now, I want you to to understand this is going to depend on what kind of student you are. If you're one of those students where you could just blaze through things, or you do have an already deep understanding of architecture, you could possibly hit the earlier time. The 2 to 3 year, the 2 to 3 year, the 3 to 5 years. You can possibly hit those earlier times and get in and out. Also, once again, if you're already working in architecture or engineering, you're already, now in this program, you do have to wait till part 2 to start logging your hours, but you already have almost everything else you need. You can pretty much knock this stuff out. If you're that determined of a student, then yes, you can. If you're one of those students who you take self-paced as, okay, I can just go at my own speed, I can just knock this out little chunk at a time, little chunk, then it's going to take you either the farther time, like the 3 years, the 4 to 5 years. Sometimes, and I've seen people do this, they just took way over that time. And you're just like, okay, I mean, hey, they say self-paced, do what works best for you. But if you really hit this hard, you can get it done in a faster time.
Let's get into the syllabus course sequence table. So here you have the syllabus course table, and here you can see it visually. So you have part 1, and so here you can see you're going to take some history courses, some theory courses, some design, and also some technology courses, so like material properties and applications, introduction to structures, and so on. So that would be your first part. Then part 2, there's also some history courses in architecture. You're also going to get into the theory. There's a bit more theory classes in comparison to part 1, and you also have some design courses as well, and also more technology courses as well in structures and so on. And now, as you can see in part 2, you can start to log your hours. And you need to, of course, be employed under the supervision of a licensed architect. You can begin to log a minimum of 2,800 hours in part 2. Then in part 3, you have no more history and architecture courses. You start to get into theory, just 1 course, and then it is more heavy in design, and you're starting to get a little less technology courses, but there's still 3 courses that you have to do. And then you start to get more professional practice courses. And then in this particular part, you're able to record a minimum of 7,000 hours in this part for your internship in architecture program. So logging those hours. So here you have the 3 parts of the program. And so here we have just some program components, and it actually gets into the sequence of the theory courses, and it breaks down what those are about, and the history courses, the technology sequence, and the professional practice sequence, and they get into also the design studio workshop courses, and you can go into those for further details. And they also just break down the work experience as well. The syllabus program is self-paced, so it's important to note that you're going to need to have good time management skills. You should account for a minimum of 30 plus hours of studying per week. Plus, you have to account that you're going to be working, because you're going to be gaining that experience, and that could be you're working part-time or full-time, and then you also have your personal life as well. So that's something important to keep in mind when you are thinking about the syllabus program.
That right there is a major, like I said, if you hit this as hard as you can, like I say, if you're already working in architecture or engineering or landscape architecture, you can hit this pretty hard and you can knock this out in the earlier time. If you are like I used to be, hey, if it's self-paced, I'm going to go at my own speed, and I'm going to leave everything to the last year or the last 2 years. You're going to drag this out as far as you possibly can, and you possibly might miss some deadlines, and then you'll have to, I don't know if the classes relapse or whatever, or if they lapse and you have to repay, or what you have to do, but it's just easier. Just get it done. If you already have the job in architecture, like you're a drafter, you do BIM or Revit, or you're the Lightroom person in the job, just go ahead and knock it out. You will save yourself so much headache, heartache, and money just knocking this out.
It is a little less structured in a way in comparison to the university route, but it does offer that flexibility. But in offering that flexibility, you need to be careful with your time. So you're gonna have to have good time management skills and self-motivation as well. So keep that in mind.
The other thing that's actually good about this way is, once again, you're saving money because you're not paying for courses. Number one, you're not paying for courses you don't need. Number two, you're not paying a million administrative fees for things you're never going to use. You're not going to use the school gym, the meal plans, the dorms, stuff. I still, even like I said, I still got meal plans because if I'm ever on campus, then I can eat on campus. But B, I can make a little bit of money because if someone needed meals for the week, I could just slap on my card like, hey, give me $20 and here's 18 meals for the week. Here's 21 meals for the week. Just, here's access. Think they check? Nope. Ain't saying what university I did this at, but that's our secret. And like I say, if you're already working in architecture full time, you're getting paid. And sometimes, depending on who your employer is, they will give you a little bit of a bonus for either A, the courses, or B, every past ARE segment that you do.
And when you are considering the syllabus program. Number 2, program admission requirements. So now let's get into the program admission requirements. So here we have the syllabus program requirements for admission. Now the admission requirements for the program is quite open. However, you do need to have grade 12 matriculation. And you also need, of course, internet access because all of the courses are offered online. So that's important. Although the syllabus program has an open admissions policies, you do need to have post-secondary level English and math skills. And if English is a second language, candidates must provide evidence of passing the test of English as a foreign language or Canadian Academic English Language with their application, and the following are the minimum scores required. So it's important to have these minimum scores in order to be eligible for the syllabus program. And of course, it's also important to note that architecture is a creative field, and part of your application for the program includes a portfolio. So you need to have some sort of creative ability and showcase that in your portfolio for admission. And that needs to include you need to possess at least some significant drawing skills. So some sketches, abstract renderings, and these materials could be a variety of media, done in a variety of media, such as pencil, pen and ink, watercolor, and so on. And you can also have the ability, or you should also have the ability to create 3D objects, so like modeling.
This is where a lot of people who may want to get in are going to get thrown out because there are quite a few universities that will accept you, or there's some programs that will accept you without being able to draw. BCIT, British Columbia Institute of Technology, has one. They have an architectural engineering technologist program. So does, I think their name is Tompkins Rivers or Thomas Rivers University, TRU. They have it as well. But in this case, yes, you do have to have a artistic portfolio. Other schools that don't have it, I believe Pratt doesn't have it. What's the school in Copper Union doesn't have it. And there's one more. I can't think of the name.
Watch 100 plus channels of live TV, your favorite sports, movies, and more with no
Overpriced.
3D building modeling. So those are the eligibility requirements for the syllabus program. Number 3, program fees. Now let's go into the program fees for all the courses and also the
If you hear me groan, it's because I've looked at the prices and
administrative costs as well. So let's look into those. So here we have the syllabus program fees for the program and also the schedule for payments. So there are 2 terms, February 1st to June 15, and term 2, August 1st to December 15. And so here we're going to go into the fees for 2021. And so there are some late charges that you need to keep in mind, refunds. There's also some administrative fees as well. So, and those are all included here. So I would take a look at those. And now let's go into the program course fees. So let's go into the syllabus course fee table. So here we have the syllabus course fee table for 2021. And so this gives you a breakdown for each part of the syllabus program. So part 1, the introduction to architecture, you have 9 courses. And on the side here, you have the associated fees for each course. So foundations of design, architectural design theory and fundamentals, and so on. And part 2 is also included, and you have all the courses with the associated fees as well. And then part 3 as well. Now, since there's no totals on the table here, what I have done is I've actually summed up those totals to give a general idea of what it will cost to complete all the courses. Now, these numbers do not include the administrative fees, so keep that in mind. So here on my screen, I show part 1, Introduction to Architecture. So I've taken each course and its fee, and so for part 1 it's going to cost around $7,236.25, and then part 2 is going to cost $8,735.50, and then part 3 is going to cost $11,528.50. So now if we were to include part 1, 2, and 3, it would equal out to $27,560.25.
now I want you to juxtapose that with a usual university degree, whether it is a 4-year, 5-year, or 4-year with the 2-year or 3-year masters, is going to run you somewhere around anywhere between $75,000 to $100,000 with everything, and sometimes higher than that $100,000 depending on the name of the school. And then we can also say, if that school, if you're out of state tuition, that's going to be even higher than this $27,000. Now, one of the reasons I said I was going to groan was because these are great prices. These are awesome prices. Unless you live in the United States. If you live in the United States, you are going to pay 3 times the price. Now, they do offer waivers if you have either A, need-based, or B, you have some kind of loose connection with any of the tribes native to anywhere in Canada, or if you can just prove some tentative way, like, I don't know, you just live close to the border. Sometimes they'll kind of look the other way. Oh, you live in Blaine, Washington. Oh, you live right at the border. Okay, you don't tell nobody. Come on over. They're not doing that with me. I live in Alaska. I can't get away with that. And I've been saying, you could just take Alaska and I'll be yours and I can pay cheap prices. And they just look at me not laughing. Boy, nobody loves me, huh?
So part 1 is $7,236.25. Part 2 is $8,795.50, and Part 3 is $11,528.50, for a total of $27,560.25, which I don't think is such a bad deal for a professional diploma where you're able to practice. Now, of course, this does not include the administrative fees, so please keep that in mind. So in comparison to doing your master's and undergrad, this fee is quite reasonable for a professional diploma. Now, of course, this does not include the administrative fees, so make sure to add the administrative fees as well. Number 4, application. Now that we've gone into the eligibility requirements for the program, what the program is about, and the fees for the program, let's get into the application process and also the requirements for the syllabus program. So here on my screen, I'm on the application instructions and the process for the application process. And let's get into the details. So when to apply. Application deadlines for consideration prior to the start of each studio term is as follows. They need to be received by December 15 for term 1, and term 1 is from February to June. Received by June 15th for term 2, which is September to December. Now, how do you apply for the diploma program? So first, you should review the information pages, and some of it we've already discussed, but I would encourage you to go through it in further detail. So you gotta go through the program orientation, the curriculum sequence chart and course calendar, the fees, accredit assessments and appeals, contacts, and student conduct. Once you've done that, you can create an account to the student portal login page. And then you can start to get into the application tab and into the application process. And a part of the application, you need to submit the following documents as a PDF when prompted to do so through the application tab. And so you need to provide some personal and professional information about yourself in the application form. And then you need to also provide scanned copies of post-secondary diplomas, if you have them, scanned copies of official post-secondary transcripts, if you have them, high school diplomas, and high school transcripts. You also need to, as part of the application, provide a design portfolio, and they need to be 5 to 10 images. And so I would go through these requirements for your portfolio. And you need to have 2 signed letters of reference. A reference should be from someone that you have been directly accountable to. This could be a teacher, a professor, a supervisor, or an employer. And you also need to have a 5-word essay as to why you want to study architecture. And then an up-to-date resume as well. And so, like I mentioned before, if you do have a 4-year degree in architecture already, a university degree, then you might be eligible for advanced standing. So here we have the advanced standing for either academic or studio courses. So you can get some of those courses that you completed through your university degree transferred into the syllabus program for advanced standing. And so there's an online application form for this, and you could apply for an entry credit assessment, and they would look into the history, theory, and technical courses, and you would need to complete these forms. So you can get advanced standing for history, theory, and technical courses, and also for design studio. You could also submit to get a studio advanced standing, and there is a studio advanced standing policy that I would recommend you to read through. You would also, for studio advanced standing, portfolio should include different content than the application portfolio. And then there's also an application fee associated. So if you are paying for the application only, it's a $367.50 application fee.
I also want to remind you that these prices are in Canadian. The prices will be lower if you are a United States citizen, but please do remember, as I just said, if you are an international student, which I know that we don't think about this here in the United States, but yes, they are a different country up there. No matter what a certain person wants to tell you, they are a different country. So you would be paying 3 times the amount for the courses. For this application fee, 367 is about 250, maybe 230, maybe 260. I forget which one, but it wouldn't be the same price. So if you could get in and they could give you a waiver for international student fees, then you would be paying a lot less than that $27,000. I forget what it is. As a matter of fact, we can kind of, I'll give it to you somewhere along the way.
And so on. So I would go through all of this, and of course, Advanced Studio Standing Assessment Fee, and there's also an entry credit assessment fee. So if you're getting your history, theory, technical courses, and you want to get those assessed for advanced standing, then there's a fee associated to that. And if you're trying to get your studio courses and your studio accredited and transferred, then you would have another fee for that as well. And
$27,800 in Canadian is $19,426.91 in US. Just something to think about. But once again, I'm not sure if they can waive the international fees.
you need to have a portfolio, a studio advanced standing portfolios, since they should include different content than the application portfolio. So I would review the Appendix B for more information on the Advanced Studio policy, so make sure to go through that. And so then your information and your application will go through a review process. So that is basically the application process, and I've included a link down below to the website that you're seeing right on the screen here. Number 5, more information. So if you want more information about the syllabus program, I've included links down below of the websites that we've been looking and sharing on the screen here. So if you'd like more information about the application process, the fees, and the program, links are down below in the description box. I've included down below a link where you can find a list of contacts in which you can get in contact for more information. If you would also like to get more information and webinars from the RAIC syllabus program, I've also included a link for that as well. So make sure to check out all the links down below in the description box for more information. And so there you have it. That is the syllabus program, an alternative pathway to licensure. I definitely wouldn't throw this out of the table. Take it into consideration. Try to compare it with the university route. I went through the university route. I wish I knew about the program when I was making the decision. However, I'm not sure that I would have changed my decision because I do like the structure that I got from the university path, but there are some good things from the syllabus program, and there are arguments in both. I think both are good contenders. It really depends on what you want to get out of it and also what works best for you with your schedule. So if you need more flexibility, the syllabus program might be a good alternative. Now, it's important to note that the syllabus program is self-paced, so you have to be careful with your time and you gotta be self-motivated as well. So I hope you guys got a lot of value out of the video. If you did, make sure to...
We did. Thank you so much. And by the way, I just want to remind you, if you are a military member, check their policies, because if you are a military or you are a veteran of the United States, if they have a policy where it says civil servants of, I just checked one of them, and it says be a civil servant of a foreign country, the United Nations, or intergovernmental organization in which Canada belongs. So you may want to check that, because the United States does count. And guess what? That means you can get that money off. $19,000 versus $27,000 versus God knows what. You might as well go to Harvard. Anyway, that's enough of that for today. Thank you. Go like and subscribe to Architecture TV, and also hit my dislike button.